never stops, literally. If the video is wobbly, if there's a lot of background noise happening, I am not at home, obviously. I am in a hotel. But like I said, the grind never stops. You know what week it is, alright? It's Reckless. I haven't really posted about Powerless on YouTube, but I have posted it quite a bit on my Instagram. I didn't really like it. I think I rated it a 3.5, if I remember correctly. It was 3.5. I found it just like a lot of mixing of other books, just a lot of elements from other fantasy YA books, and so for me it just didn't really hit. It wasn't anything different, wasn't anything new, unique, and it just kind of felt very, very heavy on the tropes, but I could see the potential. The bones were there, they just needed to be fleshed out a little bit more. So, against my better judgment, I pre-ordered Reckless. This actually isn't my pre-order copy, because I pre-ordered through Barnes & Noble, and Barnes & Noble are liars, actually. They're pathological liars. Do they say my book is going to be here when it releases on release day? Yes. Do they actually mail it beforehand so it's in my hands on release day? No. And I couldn't wait, so I went to my local Walmart and I picked up the standard copy. Am I impulsive? Maybe. Am I impatient? Definitely. I don't know, I'm excited. I am really hopeful for this. Even though I didn't really like Powerless, I am really, really hopeful for this. I want this to be better. I want to rate this like a 4-star. I really enjoyed Powerful. I just finished that actually on the way to this hotel. I really enjoyed it, and that I'm probably going to give a 4 stars. So I'm hopeful that the writing in Reckless is going to kind of better match what was done in Powerful. Because I know Powerless, actually, she wrote when she was really young, like 18, and she self-published it, and then Simon & Schuster picked it up, so I'm hoping this one's good. Also, at the time of filming this, a lot of people are kind of giving Lauren Roberts some hate. Obviously, Reckless is named similarly to the Reckless book by Elsie Silvers. The Cowboy Romance, is that what it is? I know a lot of people are talking about how Powerless pulls way too much from Red Queen and the Hunger Games, and they're even going as far as saying plagiarism. I'm not gonna say I agree or disagree because I haven't read Red Queen, but I will say that it is heavily inspired by the Hunger Games. Is it exactly like the Hunger Games? No. The Hunger Games goes a lot deeper into the actual Hunger Games, and the people and the themes and the conflicts in that book go way much more deeper than Powerless does. Powerless is, what if we have these trials, but it was enemies to lovers romance? You know what I mean? It's very heavy on the romance, not so much on the fantasy. All I'm going to leave it at is just that it, in my mind, it isn't plagiarized. Some people are also comparing it to being AI written. I think that's a little unfair. Is it hard to tell now the difference between AI works and true works? Probably yes. I think it does discredit Lauren's overall story as an author by comparing her work to AI, or just bundling it with AI, because she, like I said, she wrote this when she was 18. It's a simpler writing style, but that doesn't mean she used AI to write it. I'm gonna leave the drama portion like that because I don't want this whole vlog to be all about drama, but I just want to like speak on that because I disagree with the people who are saying it's plagiarized and written by ChatGPT or AI. I don't think that's a fair statement. I think that is maybe just a lot of people wanting to hate on a very popular TikTok book because it's very trendy to hate on booktok books. Again, didn't love Powerless, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, she plagiarized The Hunger Games and Red Queen and she used AI to write it, and like we should not support her or buy this book. Like, I don't think that's the case, honestly. That's my spiel, that's my 2 cents about that drama. In terms of expectations, I really don't have any expectations for this book. Actually, okay, maybe my expectation is Kai and Peyton like kind of getting together, because that was one of my issues with Powerless. I felt like I read 400 something pages and not even one kiss. Don't get me wrong, I like slow burn, but give me crumbs at least. I think that's my only expectation. And maybe just an improvement in writing style, descriptions, a little less telling, a little more showing. I think that's really it. That's like all I have for this book. That's all my expectations are. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping. I'm really, 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 really hoping that Reckless turns it around for me.
Hi, I am back from vacation. I did try to film while I was in the hotel and I have that footage, but in case I absolutely hate that footage when future me is editing, we're gonna just go through my thoughts so far on the first 100 pages of Reckless that I wrote down while I was reading. I'm on page, I think, literally 105. Yes, 105. To give like a landmark, Kai and Peyton are actually tussling for the first time since the incidents in Powerless. For those who have read Reckless are wondering where exactly I am, don't understand, and if you haven't read it, that is extremely vague and you will have no idea what I'm talking about. We're gonna go through these thoughts that I wrote down while I was reading. The first one is random grammatical errors. This was actually a huge issue I had with Powerless because I found Powerless to just really be not super rough, but I found it like it just needed another edit, right? And I gave it a lot of slack because I know she self-published it before Simon & Schuster picked it up. You know, maybe they didn't just go through it too much, maybe they didn't want to change too much of the story and they just published it through Simon & Schuster as is. I don't know how publishing works, but that is what my assumption was. I was really hoping that since Reckless was actually published through Simon & Schuster, now that she's with them, that it would have, you know, a better editing, a lot more proofreading, stuff like that. And, you know, maybe it's just my Walmart copy. Maybe it's just that. But there are some instances, I'll share them with you here so you can see, where the writing is a little clunky, where it's just I'm having to reread to really understand. Some words are missing, like filler words like a and the, stuff like that. And I noticed it, you know? If you are a faster reader and you're just blazing through the story, you won't notice it. But if you're slower and you're trying to really read each thing as it is, you will. That's number one. The second thing, the timeline makes no sense to me, actually, so far. It's been maybe 2 weeks since the ending of Powerless to where I am right now in the book. And in those 2 weeks, Peyton has gotten a letter engraved on her chest, just to keep it vague. And it's supposedly like really intense scar, or it was supposed to be like an intense wound that really hurt her, and it's managed to scar. It managed to fully heal and scar in the span of 2 weeks. Could that happen? Maybe. Is that realistic? I don't know. But also in those 2 weeks, she had a knife thrown at her leg and it hit her thigh while she was jumping from these roofs. And with that wound, she was managed to get down from the roofs, make it to the desert, cross the desert to a faraway town. I'm not going to say how far away because it doesn't really explain in the book, but it's a faraway town. It took her 5 days to walk there. She had it at least 5 days in the desert. She doesn't really have medical supplies because she has no one around to help her. She's literally alone in this book. I don't know how she cleaned it, how she managed it, but again, in those 5 days, I guess it healed enough. After she gets to the town, she waits another 2 days, and then she's in a fighting ring, and she's fighting to make money. So it took maybe 7 days for this leg wound to fully heal enough that she's fighting. I know this is YA fantasy, but that just doesn't click with me. I said, no infection? She healed up perfectly fine? Is she actually a healer? Because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. I know this is actually like a common thing that happens in books, but for some reason I'm really picking it up heavy and Reckless. The next thing, again, she's in this fighting ring and she's fighting to make money because she's a wanted criminal in this book. And the guy who's running the fighting ring is so very mobster coded, so very Italian mobster mafia coded. The way he speaks sounds like it's inspired from that. The fact that it's mentioned that he has a gold watch, how he has a gold watch when this is the land of kings and queens, I don't know. I didn't imagine that kings and queens had gold watches. I also have no idea what kind of era this story is set in. Not a single clue. I can't tell you, because I'm here thinking it's like Game of Thrones style, medieval vibes, but this man is talking like he knows what Subway is and has a gold watch. But again, I can look past it. I can look the timeline issues. I can look past the fact that Peyton heals apparently in 2 business days. I can look past because it's YA fantasy, and I know a lot of authors tend to do that just to push a story. So I can forget it. We're gonna keep going. It's fine. I can look past it. This is my favorite thing I wrote, actually. I said, Powerless was all about sticky buns. Reckless is all about sticky sand. Take a shot every time you read sticky. I have seen some people comment online about this, those who have already read the book. Talk about how much Lauren uses the word sticky. That was something that really got to me when I read Powerless. The fact that everything revolved around sticky buns, or just the word sticky. Sticky sweat, sticky buns, sticky clothes. Everything is sticky. But what took me out was sticky sand. The description of sticky sand on my legs doesn't exactly get the message across that you're sticky with sweat or you're slick with sweat, and that's why the sand is on you. You know, there are different ways we could describe that instead of me reading multiple times sticky sand. I want whatever Bobby Payton uses during fighting because her scarf was laid. She, again, this is like a desert area, so she is using a scarf to not only hide her identity, but also just, it's hot, it's the desert, so she needs it anyways. But she apparently does it so well that they can't see her hair, they can't see anything about her face, all they see are her eyes. And even though there are wanted posters all around this city with her face, no one has any clue because of that scarf that Peyton is who she is. They think she's just some random stranger, and I also think she's a boy. But anyways, she fights with this scarf, and not once in any of her multiple fights before Kai catches up to her does that scarf fall off. I want to know what she's using. I want what she's using. Speaking of hair and head coverings, the fact that all of the Ilias citizens have colored hair because of the plague, and the plague only was in that city, and none of the surrounding cities had the plague, so they all have normal hair, is potentially the most YA fantasy thing I've read so far in this book. Also, why did the plague not reach the other cities? Was that ever explained? Or is that actually a plot hole I'm just stumbling into now that I'm reading Reckless? Lauren, if you watch this, please answer that for me. Thank you. And then the last thing, which kind of really, really took me out. Normally, I can look past cringy writing. I can look past it. I read Fourth Wing, and it has cringy writing, and I liked it still. But Kai and Peyton referring to themselves as Shadow and Flame really, really took me out. I know it's supposed to be cute. I know it's supposed to be like, oh my god, they're a match made in heaven. He's the flame to her shadow. It took me out, actually. To someone I love, those things actually aren't horrible things. They're not horrible comments. I'm still going to finish this book. I'm actually going to read more today now that we're back, and I'm hoping to read probably about 100 pages. The book is not large at all compared to Powerless. They're not red flags that are preventing me from reading this book. They're just things I needed to know. I'm kind of liking it. I'm not going to say I'm like loving it or enjoying it. I'm kind of liking it. It's alright. If I had to rate it now, it'd probably be a 3-star. It's not bad. It's just is, I guess. That sounds so horrible. I will talk to you guys in a minute.
Who is this man? Who is this man? You mean Lenny? Who is this? We have new lore. It's a lore update. We have the elites, the ones born with very powerful powers. They can stay. We have the ordinaries, no powers whatsoever. And then what happens when an elite and an ordinary come together? You have the mixes. That's the name we went through with. The mixes. To really tie it in all together, we have this sentence. But Luna is far from the first mix in her bloodline. It doesn't seem right that they're called mixes. And that Luna is being referred to not as the first mix. Okay, it's late. I am calling it a night. I mean, it's a page 200. So far, it's okay. It's not bad. I don't know where this plot is going, besides, like, Kai and Peyton kind of having some sort of reconciliation, but not really. It's definitely giving more enemies to lovers in the sense compared to Powerless, because it has more of the forced proximity, it has more of the toucher annual, you know, whatever. It has a lot more of just like their banter and them arguing and them trying to fight against the feelings that they have for each other. But besides that, there really isn't anything going on. It's just a lot of adventure, I guess. I don't even know if adventure is the right word. It's a lot of them just trying to make it back to their home, essentially, and getting caught up in some things. So, not bad. It's not a bad story. I just don't know, like, where this fits overall in the whole trilogy. It's not really adding anything fantasy world-wise. So, I just can't figure out, like, what the third book is gonna do. Like, how this whole thing is gonna be resolved in terms of Peyton being ordinary and her romance with Kai. Like, I just can't figure it out. Which I guess isn't a bad thing, but it's not the best thing either. Like, there's just not enough, like, crumbs leading me on, I guess, to figure it out. But at this rate, I may finish it tomorrow, depending how things go. I always say that in these videos, I've realized. After editing 2 of my vlogs, that I always say I may finish it tomorrow, and I actually don't. But I may be able to finish it tomorrow if I just focus on reading. The spelling errors are really getting to me. They're really getting to me. I know they're enemies. I know this isn't enemies to lovers. But if I have to read one more time that Peyton draws a knife on Kai, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. At what point do the enemies start showing some love? At what point do the tropes get some resolution? Because I'm on page 226, and I kid you not, this is probably the 10th time that Peyton has done this move. When will we move on? Like, we just had this really nice scene in the sewer where you explain your regrets and you basically confess, and within a day after that you are back to putting a knife at his throat. You just saved his life and told him you saved his life because you couldn't handle killing someone, and then you threaten him again. Like, Peyton, you gotta decide. You gotta decide, girl. Do you like him or do you not like him? Okay, we gotta pick. But we can't keep going back and forth. We cannot keep doing this any longer. Do you think Kit is actually going insane? What is your opinion on Kai and Peyton? Do you think that they should kiss a 4th time in this book? There is no way Peyton just swatted a flying arrow out of the air with a bow. There's no way. You mean to tell me from the time that arrow left the enemy's bow that she saw it, she covered Kai, and managed to swat the arrow away with her own bow? I know this is YA fantasy, but please be so for real right now. I'm actually gonna call it a night because I'm on page 331. Okay, we're in Kit's point of view, and I feel like if I keep reading, I'm gonna finish this book, and by the time I finish, it's gonna be so late that I'm not gonna be coherent enough to actually speak to you guys. My disappointment is just actually kind of like growing the more I read, actually. But we're gonna finish tomorrow, and we're gonna see how this finishes out, and I don't know. I'm just gonna talk to you tomorrow. I'm gonna talk to you guys tomorrow. Alright, bye. The plot twist? Did I expect it? No. Is that mainly because I didn't know what to expect, because I couldn't tell where the plot was going? Yes, but still, nonetheless, very unexpected, to the point that I am gonna read this third book. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. But the ending, I feel like when I finished Powerless, that I wasn't really about the book until the ending, and then when I got to the end, I was like, wait, I want to read the next book. When reading this, I was like, I can't believe, like, this is what I pre-ordered, like, I can't believe, and then I get to the ending, and then I need to keep going. Let's do a little recap. Star rating. This is a 3. That was the quickest decision I've ever made. This is a 3. Editing me, if it changes, you can, again, update for the people right here. But this is a 3, which is lower than what I rated Powerless. It's alright. Honestly, it's alright. I could see the vision. I could see that this was supposed to be like some Romeo and Juliet angsty vibes. But the first... well, not even the first, but once we got to the middle where Kai and Peyton are like making their way back to the kingdom, it got really repetitive. Their character arcs and relationship seemed to stall. It was a lot of just the same going back and forth. There wasn't a lot of progression in the plot, in their relationship, in any of that sort, so I really just wanted to put it down. I wasn't like dying to finish it at that point. Once we get to, what the hell is it called? The Sanctuary of Souls. I didn't even look up the map. The Sanctuary of Souls. Once we're there and they start to kind of like really open up a little bit more, and then we get to the poppy field. Poppy field? Okay, poppy field, girl. Listen, if you're watching this, Simon Schuster, if you pass this on to her, the poppy field scene, that is great. That is amazing. Those chapters, beautiful. We need more writing like that. We need more exposition like that. We need more of Kai and Peyton talking to each other like that. They are, right now, very flat characters out of very select moments in the book. And if you could just put a little bit more of those poppyfield moments in the book, their depth will really shine through. I see what you're trying to tell me. I see where you want this to go. You just need to give us a little more. Give us a little more of that. And I promise the girls will eat it up more. Okay? The girls will eat it up so much more. I really can't give this above a 3. Outside of those last few chapters, few hundred pages where Kai and Peyton really start getting into the nitty-gritty, there isn't really a plot to this book. I expected it to be a lot of confrontation, a lot of angst, a lot of really going at each other's necks, and it kind of felt like rereading Powerless again. It was just very like, I'm gonna do the same things I already did to you in Powerless, and I'm gonna treat you the same way I did to you in Powerless, and it's like reading them fall in love with each other all over again, except we already know that they're in love with each other, and there's just supposed to be this whole angsty juxtaposition about how they hurt each other, and that hurt doesn't really have the limelight. What shines is a lot of the same tropes that kind of already played through in Powerless, now again happen in Reckless, which makes it feel like you're kind of reading the same thing, except now there's no trials to keep me entertained. Now it's just really Kai and Peyton talking a lot. And then on top of that, all the spelling errors, incorrectly used words, quotations missing, like, did the editor not work? What went wrong? Honestly, what went wrong? That's no attack to you, Lauren. That's really an attack to your editor, because that's their job. I'm still gonna read the third book. Is it Stockholm Syndrome at this point? When does the line get crossed? Okay, when do I cross from actual, like, just trying to read a book to insanity? When does that line become a line? And on a positive note, there are things I enjoy. Like I said, the poppy field scene, beautiful. Kai's epilogue, beautiful in the end. His little epilogue, amazing. That was a great add-on. I'm excited to see him in the third book. I'm begging, if anyone is listening to me, I'm begging to see so much more angst from his part in the third book, because there is so much you can do. You could really get deep with this, okay? Now that it also involves Kit, please please. I see the potential. Just grab it. Grab the potential. It's fine. I'm still gonna read the third book. And I think you guys should still give it a shot. Just because this doesn't do it for me doesn't mean it won't do it for you. There are good things in this book. There are just some things I can't look past, and that's my personal opinion. And you have the right to your personal opinion. So please give it a shot, okay? Don't take my opinion as law. It's not law. I'm just a girl who likes to yap, and that's it. This is still better than Babel, though. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and end the vlog here. If you want to see a full review on Reckless, you're gonna have to go to Goodreads or Instagram, alright? The links are in my channel somewhere. Maybe in the description. Actually, they are in the description. Links are in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. As a teaser, I'm gonna be reading a few of the popular BookTok books, and we're gonna be doing just a little deep dive into them. Be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!